Today I want to talk about why don't we actually stick with our habits. So we have some sort of mountaintop experience. Like we go to a retreat, we read a book, we watch a video or a movie or something. We become super inspired. Like, oh my gosh, this is the year that I'm going to blank. It doesn't matter what it is. I used to think it did. I thought, well, there are certain behaviors that you're just not going to stick with. And then there are some that, if you're sufficiently excited, you will. And it's just not the case. So why? Why don't we stick with some things? And maybe how could we stick with some things? So let's talk about, in the study of habits and routines, what causes people to not do them. We got lots of experience with this. So in the years of running the app, I Run, You Run, which I still keep up and I still use every single day, because what we learned, the number one reason that people don't follow through with things, wait for it. What do you think that is, by the way? Why don't people actually do what they say they're going to do? Why don't you do it? Why don't I do it? So I've been in meetings where I've said, all right, let's do blank. Let's get more organized. Let's actually take notes from this meeting and follow up and send out the action items. And then when we get back, we're going to revisit those action items and we're just going to become more disciplined. Yes, that's it. We're going to be a more disciplined team. And as a more disciplined team, we're going to get things done. We're going to know where things stand. We're going to knock down the barriers. It's just going to be awesome, right? And then we leave the meeting and we forget. Now you'd say, come on, you just gave a speech on this, or you just felt so condemned because you didn't follow through on last week's action items. Are you really going to forget? People don't really forget, do they? I do. Maybe I got hit in the head too many times as a kid playing football. I don't know. I forget a lot of the things that I say I'm going to do. And if you have worked with me, you probably know that. But the truth is, I think most of us do. And I think you got to give yourself a little grace here. The number one reason that people don't follow through with the things that they plan to do is they simply forget. Does that surprise you? Think about last year. Let's say this time last year. So last year, end of the first quarter, maybe you killed your business plan or your budget. And you said, you know what, let's turn it up a notch. Or you know what, let's pivot. Or maybe we totally missed the plan. What was that? What were the 3 things that you said were most important that you were going to do after the first quarter of last year? It's sad. Okay, forget that. That's too hard of an example. Let's take a big offsite. The last time you went to a conference and you heard an amazing speaker, and maybe you even said you're going to buy that speaker's book, and you were actually going to implement this stuff. You were going to get financially wise. You were going to become a better strategic thinker. You were going to become more disciplined with your project plans. Do you remember what you actually did? Okay, so not to belabor the point, but the number one reason we don't stick with things is we forget. And so the number one way to stick with something, if you want to knock down the first barrier, is just write it down. Okay, the second thing is now put it somewhere where you won't lose it. So write it down or type it in, then put it somewhere where you won't lose it. I recommend that you use some sort of app, some sort of cloud-based system. Your calendar, you can use a tool like I Run, You Run. You can use OneNote. You can use anything you want. But if you don't write it down and get it committed to something that has a trigger, something with a schedule, something with a reminder, well, just don't give yourself too hard of a time, because you're probably not going to do it. All right. Hope that's helpful. Think about applying that in your own life. Talk to you soon.